beer, rum, and rock and roll. Saving rock, one conversation at a time. With Randy Legault and Beau Shiminsky.
Let's begin.
Shall we?
Right now. Let's go, baby.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.
No, I was told I have to drink after my cheers. Somebody gave me shit for that.
You know what? The other thing you should do,
What?
which I believe in, is when you're cheersing someone, you fucking look at them. Plain and simple. You know how people cheers this? This is how they cheers.
Oh, interesting.
Right? I hate that. Always give them the eye saying, hey, I appreciate you. Cheers.
I feel
Move
like I
on.
was looking at you, but maybe I wasn't.
Well, I'm
what?
just saying it's a pet peeve. It's like, you know what? If we're going to cheers,
Right.
let's have some eye contact.
I think I was looking at my beer.
Yeah, see what happens. Now you learned something.
I'll gaze into your eyes next time.
Gaze deep.
Oh, man.
Glad to be back, man.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yes, here we go. Before I get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
The Rock and Roll Hall of Shame?
Yes.
Yes.
And what that is. I have one thing I want to talk about.
Okay.
Joey Kramer and Aerosmith.
Yeah, I've been paying attention.
Now,
sadly.
Yes. And to get through it, I'm going to have to do a bit of reading because I think it's important because I just think this story is crazy. And we're never going to know all the inside of what's going on, obviously.
Three sides to every story, man.
That's
It's
exactly right.
The reality.
But let's just talk about what we know.
Sure.
This guy's been drumming for them for 50 years.
50. Yeah, I know.
50.
Nuts.
Count them.
Oh, yeah.
So he filed a lawsuit against his bandmates for preventing him from performing at this Music Cares thing, which has already happened when we were doing this. It was yesterday. And the Grammys, which is tomorrow as of this taping.
Right.
They don't want him there performing. They want him to show up as part of the band on the red carpet.
Sure.
But they don't want him performing. Backstory, people don't know, he hasn't performed with them since last year around April.
Now, you went to see them and he wasn't playing.
It was right around then.
Right.
Hurt his shoulder and his ankle, and he's been on the mend. Okay? And this guy named John Douglas, his replacement, has been doing his thing.
And he's been associated with the band for a long time.
He's Kramer's drum tech.
Right.
Okay, dig this. In order to get back into the band, okay, that he's been in for 50 years, Joey Kramer was required to audition by drumming to a click track to show that he's able to play at an appropriate level, okay? Well, they got back to him and said, because he videotaped it, they got back to him and said, did not have enough energy in the recordings and felt that he was not capable of performing a level that their fans are accustomed to. And my immediate reaction to that was, really? Because if they're performing at the Grammys and this Music Cares thing, what are they doing? 1, 2 songs? You're telling me Joey Kramer can't get it together for 2 songs? I don't believe it.
Even saying about getting it together business, I look at this as like the Stones, okay?
Right.
They're going to play with Keith on that stage or Charlie or whatever. If Charlie wants to play, Charlie's going to play.
Good point.
And they're all going to say, great.
Right.
We're 50 years playing. I don't think that the average Aerosmith fan is going to care that Joey is slightly off the click. And regardless of that,
right,
a click.
Right.
I'm sorry, man.
You don't want it on the click.
There's no click.
They're not a click band.
No, not at all. So
No.
This is nuts to me that a guy that's been in a band for 50 years and can play to a level that's going to, that nobody's going to pick up on at any level unless he can't hold a fucking drumstick.
Right.
Give me a fucking break. This is brutal. And I can't
agree.
even imagine how all members of that band are okay with this. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Even, okay, I understand there may be some other things going on with this band that they don't want to talk about.
Probably.
But when they put it in this light, that's a slap.
It's a slap in the face
to
for sure.
Joey and a slap to the fans because he's an Aerosmith member, man.
Now, he released a statement, right?
Yeah.
It's not about money. I'm being deprived of the opportunity to be recognized along with my peers and our lifetime contributions to the music industry, which is true. These guys are going to try to say that I'm unable to play the drums right now, but nothing could be further from the truth. I did everything they asked. In 50 years of Aerosmith, no other band member has been subjected to this scrutiny, let alone being asked to audition for your own fucking job. I threw fucking in there, by the way.
I get it, because I know you like to say it, and I get
it. It's crazy, man.
It is nuts. The way that this has been played out, man, and the verbiage that's been used is sad, sad, sad.
It is. Their response was, Joey Kramer is our brother. His well-being is of paramount importance to us. However, he has not been emotionally and physically able to perform with the band, by his own admission, for the past 6 months. We've missed him and have encouraged him to join us to play many times, but apparently he has not felt ready to do so. See, now that immediately becomes he said, she said. So where is it? It's always in the middle, I always think. It's in the middle somewhere.
Yeah.
So the judge said...
He threw it out.
He threw it out, and Kramer said, although I'm extremely disappointed by the judge's ruling today, I respect it. So...
Is he going to show up?
So yes, I know, as of this taping, he showed up last night at the Music Cares thing.
Did he?
He did show. Yeah.
Because I think I saw something even on TMZ where they had security guys.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. And I was like, what the fuck? He's sitting there with his fucking gig bag ready to go in. And it's like, sorry, sir, is that okay? But you the guys don't want you in.
I wanted to crawl under my desk when I saw that.
It was
Joey
brutal.
Kramer, 2 security guards, and they didn't even want to do it. You could tell.
No, you could tell they were.
I'm sorry,
they're
man.
embarrassed as fuck to say anything.
I'll post a link, man. Yeah,
brutal.
It is tough to watch.
Yeah,
and
sad state of affairs.
I know enough about Aerosmith to know that drumming for Steven Tyler, this is not an easy gig, and he's been doing it for 50 fucking years. Like, come on.
See, and there's the other thing that weighs a little heavier on this conversation than most is that Steven is a drummer.
And he's a perfectionist to boot, right? So
sure, but
yeah.
I don't know. Aerosmith, you can go back to a lot of records. It wasn't about perfection. It was all about fucking vibe, right?
I think you're right for about half their catalog. Mm-hmm. When you get into that 80s stuff, it is a more on the click type thing, right? Either way.
But when they've been around 50 years and they're playing live, sorry, no one gives a fuck.
The word we haven't, neither one of us has said, I don't think so far, is loyalty. Where's the fucking loyalty, man? Come on.
Like I said, back to the Stones, this another long time band with key players.
It breaks my heart.
Would never happen. Would never happen.
It's brutal. Okay, switching gears.
Yeah.
The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee list has been announced. All 6 of them. Okay? And here they are. Doobie Brothers. I mean, we've went through these before, but so we don't have to dwell on it, but that's fine. I'm fine with that.
I'm fine with Dukes.
Yep. Depeche Mode, not my thing. Also fine with it. Huge influence and all that stuff.
You couldn't, in the 80s, you couldn't go a block without somebody saying Depeche Mode or hearing Depeche Mode or wearing Depeche Mode, whatever.
They play in stadiums. I mean, I get it.
I get it. Not my thing. Correct. No. But okay, makes sense.
Yes.
They always get one of those in there every now and then. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And just because I don't care for that kind of music doesn't mean I can't see the validity of it. I mean, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Sure.
The guy on my t-shirt, Mark Bolan and T-Rex, they're in. I'm fine with that. I mean, they're a 2-album band. Like, if you really want to get nitpicky about it, I mean, they're a huge influence on the glam scene and stuff.
See, I was never on the radar with T-Rex and they're the ones that get in. And we know who didn't.
Oh, we'll get there.
I know. And I'm just saying, this is where it gets a little bit problematic.
I know.
But go on.
It's why them and
T-Rex gets in. Mark Bolan, yeah.
9 Inch Nails, again, definitely deserving. These guys created a genre of music, basically. No problem whatsoever. Yeah. You can debate on whether now or later, but no problem. Mm-hmm. Here's where it starts to become a problem.
Or flaring. Well, yeah.
Notorious Big, and I know it's B.I.G., but I'm calling him Notorious Big because I don't give a shit.
Sure.
And I'm not into hip hop and rap. I'm sure he's great, but let's put him in the Rap Hall of Fame.
Right.
Van Halen wouldn't make it into the Hip Hop Rap Hall of Fame. I'm pretty sure of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Maybe Aerosmith might because of Walk This Way.
Sure, they could slide in.
Maybe they could get in, but
for one song. Yeah. I know we're beating the same drum, but I don't understand how that's rock and roll.
And I don't understand how, again, and we'll get into it, how this guy beats out 3 others that I just cringe that it's not happening for.
And Whitney Houston. Oh, boy.
Holy fuck.
Again, incredible voice, but that's kind of where it ends in terms of why she's in there. Like, there's nothing rock and roll about her at all. if you want to talk about, let's say Madonna's in there, you can debate that. But at least, here I'm defending Madonna, whoa. But at least she pushed boundaries and pissed people off. There's a rock and roll attitude you could argue there. Whitney Houston has none of that.
Mm-mm.
They're mindless fucking pop tunes, and her voice is incredible. That is not rock and roll on any level. The only thing rock and roll about her was the fact she was hooked on drugs and OD'd. That's about this rock and roll that she got.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote this down. She represents everything true rock fans hate. Like she does.
Yeah.
Everything about her.
Yeah.
Well, she was not bad looking, but other than that.
She had a great voice. Like, there's no denying, but she was put together for this reason only, is to sell pop songs. She did that clearly.
Clive Davis got in there, and they created a money-making machine.
That ain't rock and roll, baby.
No,
that ain't rock
absolutely
and roll.
not.
Yeah. Especially with, again, the 3 bands that were on the list that, again, did not get happening. And I know they've been on there a number of times.
Yeah. So here's an interesting thing on that note. So they have this fan vote, okay? And the last 7 winners of the fan vote got in.
Okay.
But not this year. Top of the fan vote was Dave Matthews, who I don't care for, but I can step back and get it.
Right.
And Pat Benatar.
Yeah.
No and no. We haven't even got to Judas Priest yet.
Or Thin.
Or Thin Lizzy. Exactly. What's the point of having a fucking fan ballot if you're not going to acknowledge it? Just get rid of it. If it's that meaningless, don't fucking have it then.
I really think that because this is not the exception, this has become kind of the normal.
Right.
When it comes to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in January and everybody getting excited and everybody going, and any true rock fan, which these are the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, are all fucking disappointed.
And clearly they're the ones that vote in this fan vote because those are the ones at the top.
Sure. It's irrelevant now to me. Like, honestly, I don't give a shit anymore.
Well, I'm going to watch every year because there's some great performances on there sometimes. That's all.
Sure.
That's all.
This year, there may be the odd, like, I don't even, what I'd want to really watch this year.
There's some good mashups. You get some people on stage and it's pretty cool, right? It can be.
But to get all caring about it.
Right.
Save your breath. Save your heart. Save your tears, man.
But on that note,
and
I've said this before too, a lot of these artists, they slam the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame until they get in. And Trent Reznor is no exception.
Right.
Here's a quote from 2018. Reznor said, "Honestly, I couldn't give less of a shit. I saw somebody write something online or comment on Twitter like, what could be less rock and roll than the fucking Hall of Fame? And that is authentically how I feel about it." What did he say this week? "I'm pretty freaked out. I'm quite in shock. When I look back at how 9 Inch Nails are received, it always seems like we fall between the cracks. I don't know if it's a defense mechanism, but I just assumed we'd stay in that category. So I'm pleasantly surprised to see us acknowledged. It feels pretty good. I'm allowing myself for a limited time to feel good about this." Yeah. They dog on it, but when they get the nod, they show up grinning ear to fucking ear. That's all I'm saying.
Again.
Say, make of that what you will.
That's why I love Alex's bit.
The blah, blah.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
It was because obviously he couldn't give a shit. Never has. They've never have. It happened. They show up, of course.
They show up for the fans. That's the
totally.
Out. Yeah.
But he didn't get into it lying and bullshitting in front of a mic and saying, "Oh, you know what? Thank you so much, man. This really means a lot to me." It means blah, blah, blah.
But
fucking beautiful.
The hardcore part of me thinks, pull a Tom York or Mark Knopfler and don't show up at all.
Yeah. Perfect.
If you're that
if you're that against it, great.
Right?
Don't go.
Because I still think deep down, it means something on some level. I don't care how you
Did
slice
somebody
it.
mention an award of some kind?
Yes. Or everybody can fawn on me. Roll the highlight reel.
Yes, exactly. That's has a lot to do with a superstar, celebrity, front man. You know what I mean? These things feel good to them. And I get it.
Yeah. And back to the performances, that's why this Notorious B.I.G. and this Whitney thing you watch, because they want asses in the seats and they want Mariah Carey and John Legend and all these people are going to get on stage and sing Whitney Houston songs and everybody's going to go crazy.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
it's more about that.
Selling
it's
it
money.
just like football.
Selling it just like football, exactly.
Right.
That's part of it.
Yeah. It's too bad.
And I thought Judas Priest was going to finally get in. Like, fuck. Let me give you a quote from Richie Faulkner, who's in Judas Priest, but guaranteed wouldn't get into the Hall of Fame because he's too new.
Too new.
But he's like, I've said it before, but 50 years in and still making music, touring the globe to the best fans in the world is the biggest accolade I can think of, right? These institutions are founded on what these guys helped create, and to not be included is a total joke.
Agreed.
That's it.
Perfect.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, the big four are Priest, Maiden, Nugent, and Motorhead. How are those four not in? I know why Nugent's not in. That's bullshit, and we've covered that already.
Mm-hmm.
Shouldn't matter what he thinks off stage. But anyway, it's a joke.
Mm-hmm.
And Motorhead's smaller, fine. But Maiden and Priest, come on.
Again, I don't care,
Mm-hmm.
but I'd be interested to see if Maiden ever makes the ballot and a Priest doesn't get in, who gets it first, even though like this
Even
could
though,
be,
right.
and then you watch.
Well, they're not big on the order. That's
storm,
clear.
But the storm would be unbelievable.
Yes. Because Sabbath and Priest created the genre.
Sure did.
Let's face it.
And I can't believe they're still not. Well, I can. I can believe it because I've seen it.
And they're not getting any younger.
last
That's the
years.
other thing.
Sucks.
Right? We've covered that too.
Yeah.
If you're a voter and you don't listen to metal music, do some research and ask some other people then. Like, find out that Priest is a massive influence and did this and that.
I don't think it takes much of a Google search to figure out legends of rock, and
don't claim ignorance on it.
That's right. And just because you love Notorious Big,
Fucking brutal.
Mm-hmm.
My last thought is, why don't they just call it the Music Hall of Fame? Like, why get Miles Davis, the jazz, Miles Davis and Chick Corea and fucking Herbie Hancock.
They could make a much bigger deal about it and have genre specific, but because this is called Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, for rock fans, that's a huge problem.
Yep.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so happy about some, not about others. We're going to watch it.
And even then, this year,
it's not that great.
I'm not that excited about it. And again, I think it's just years of abuse.
Yeah. This year, yeah. 9 Inch Nails, I'm curious to see what they do. They'll rip it up.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it again in March.
Boo. I don't know if I'll be that. Yeah. I'll be a good listener at that point. Yeah.
Okay, next on the docket is a documentary. It's not exactly new. It's a couple years old, I think. But it's new to us.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about Aerosmith earlier. It's Steven Tyler's Out on a Limb. So here's what it is. An intimate portrait of rock icon Steven Tyler as he embraces the challenges of shifting gears, both as a solo performer and in a new genre of music. Uncovering a side of Tyler many fans have never seen before, this inspiring story looks at the passion, drive, and search for creative fulfillment that keeps artists pushing boundaries throughout their careers. That's basically the gist of it.
That's a mouthful.
You like that? Wow. So he kind of did a little country thing, right? And I remember when that came out, didn't do anything for me. Like, I liked the Janis Joplin cover, and that was about it. I gave it a couple spins. I'm like, yeah, this isn't my thing. Mm-hmm. And I moved on. Mm-hmm. But we're not reviewing the album. We're reviewing this documentary. It's a bit of a different thing for me anyway.
Right.
Directed by this cat named Casey Tebow. He's worked for Aerosmith for fucking years. And they interview Slash and Robert DeLeo from Stone Temple Pilots, Steven Tyler's manager, blah, blah, blah. So what happens is he does this solo album. He moves to Nashville, surrounds himself with all these top-end Nashville cats, as he would, and releases this album, We're All Somebody from Somewhere. To me, when I listened to some of these songs, when I did listen to some of them, it wasn't that big a departure. Like, if you listen to What It Takes or Crazy, if you had a fiddle to that, it's there.
100 agree 100%.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Agree 100%.
I mean, I'm a 70s Aerosmith guy. Mm-hmm. Having said that, I get the connection. Like, it's not like he's doing I don't know, a rap album or something. Mm-hmm. You know, he's not doing a death metal album, whatever you want to say. It's not that big a leap, is all I'm saying. Okay, so he does that, and then he does this gig at the Ryman Auditorium at the Grand Ole Opry, which is a historic fucking venue.
Sure.
And that's the part of the doc I really like. So they shoot this show and they cut back and forth to this concert, to interviews, and behind the scenes footage, which is hit and miss.
Mm-hmm.
But I really like the concert stuff. Like that band smokes. Like I thought anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like when they did Sly and the Family Stone and Janice, and they weaved all that in and out. And he clearly is having a blast. So it was kind of infectious. I'm like, hey, he's having fun. All right, let's go for it. And that band killed, I thought. Loving Mary Band.
Loving Mary?
Loving Mary Band, yeah.
Is that what?
Yeah. Chick on drums. I thought it was cool. The concert part I thought was cool. Okay, I'll let you talk. I'll shut up.
Well, I watched about 20 minutes of it.
You didn't even get through?
No.
Wow.
So I'm just going to teach his own.
Yeah.
If you're interested in this. And
I love Steven Tyler, so that's why I'm going to stay with it. But
so, yeah, to me, it's Add a Fiddle. And to me, that's exactly what this was. He had a band. Of course, he's going to have a good band. You get that?
Yeah,
Look, he fired his fucking drummer right now. He wants to have a good fucking band.
Yes.
So I'm not surprised at that.
Yeah.
Couple of chicks makes it, a little bit of eye candy along with that, which you don't see.
And they were good.
And of course, they're going to be great.
Yeah.
Right? Get that.
That's all I was getting off on.
But I have no interest. I had no interest in watching it. I mean,
really?
Hey, if it made him happy, great.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But for me personally, I'll listen to Aerosmith. And if he's saying he's doing a country record, that really wasn't a country record. That was pop rock.
Well, that's what country is today.
Sure.
Yeah.
The exceptional voice that Steven Tyler has, which is very fucking exceptional.
Yeah, it sounds
He
good.
is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
God, I would have loved to hear a roots country record, like something that's, if you're going to do it, go do it that way. I would love to have seen it. But here we are at the Ryman. Okay, we're country. Here we got a fiddle in the band. Charlie Daniels, here.
Yeah, but that was a real band. Without him, they're a real band. It wasn't some put together thing.
No, I'm getting to, my point is it's about the fiddle, that Steven Tyler says he went country. It's a pop record with a fiddle, and Steven Tyler doing his vocals over top of it. It missed the mark in the sense of, I would have been more excited to hear him with a stripped down thing or something really organic in a country genre. Right. But this was all about capitalization, to me, to some degree, because of the way country music has gone with pop and throwing Steven into it. He's not afraid to try, they did Walk This Way.
It was his idea.
Sure. And again, it gives him joy. Yeah. It gave me no joy.
Okay.
And that's why 20 minutes, I'm done. Let's go. What else is on the tube,
I get not digging it, but I don't get thinking it's contrived and some setup thing to capitalize on. I don't get it.
I think there's part of that. I totally do.
He's an Aerosmith. He doesn't capitalize on anything. This is not going to sell like Aerosmith.
No, I'm not even saying it's his idea. Was I impressed by it? No, not one bit. Right.
Like, I know if I was in that crowd, I probably would have left there thinking, hey, that was a pretty fucking good band, and he fucking wails. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, good for
you.
The
record I'm not going to listen to.
Good.
I'm talking about that concert. If you were there, I guarantee that would have been good.
For you, For me, I had I lost interest, and I get it. I get, people saying, do what you want to do and you love what you want to do. And I'm like, all for that. More power to you.
Yeah.
But did I think it was great? No. Did I think that it fit? No. Would I like to heard something different? Absolutely.
Hey, I'd rather watch Aerosmith every day of the week.
Yeah.
But I just thought, hey, the band's good. He's good. I got something out of it.
There's a lot of great bands too, just so you know.
Yeah, I know, but I really like him. And I get that he needed a break from those fucking guys.
They need a break from him.
Both. It's a win-win. I'm sure it's a win-win, right? Like, I just really felt that. Like, he wanted to do this thing and he doesn't give a fuck. And off he goes.
Well, he doesn't need to give a fuck.
No, he doesn't. He has fuck you money. He can do whatever he wants.
Sure.
And I felt that. I just thought I enjoyed it for what it was.
Yeah.
Am I going to watch it again? No. Am I going to listen to that album? No. No. I'm not. But for 90 minutes, I thought it was all right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm too hardcore. What can I tell you? Oh. Okay, man. So related to Nashville, we got a chance to sit down with Clayton Bellamy, who splits his time between Nashville and Alberta. Goes back and forth doing his thing. Okay, I'll give you a little bit of bio if you don't know who Clayton Bellamy is. He's a Canadian singer-songwriter. He's won 5 Canadian Country Music Awards, a Canadian Songwriter of the Year Award. He's been featured in People Magazine, New York Times, Rolling Stone. He's released 2 solo albums, 5 albums with the Roadhammers.
This is a Canadian country band?
Canadian country rock trio.
Kind of a trucker music?
Yes.
Kind of, yeah.
First album went platinum. That's $1 million, for those of you who don't know. And they won a Juno in 2006. So he's getting it done with the Roadhammers.
Mm-hmm.
Highest selling Canadian country band in history. Hello.
Most accolades in history. That's crazy.
But now he's currently touring with his new project, his new band, Clayton Bellamy and the Congregation.
Correct.
Right? And we've reviewed that album. We both loved it.
That was the last show, kids. If you want to go back and then join us on this one, that's a good one to check out.
Yes. Yeah, what would you say? Mixture of gospel, R&B, and rock riffs.
Rock,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, check.
It fits the mold much better on our program, his new project, than what he's done in the past, which is why he's here.
Absolutely.
And why it really works for us. Yeah, man, and I like a lot of players on the stage.
Right.
He's got that going on.
He does.
The style of music he's doing now is way more up my alley in regards to the inspiration that he has come to really appreciate and love. And it's always nice to veer out and do something different.
Yes.
And this is different.
It is.
It's different, and it feels right for him.
It does.
It does. It's not forced. It doesn't feel forced at all, right?
He's a powerful performer, too.
Sure.
He's awesome.
And you won't get that from the conversation we have. He's just such a nice guy. It's like, what the fuck? You know what I mean?
He's a good dude. Yeah.
Well, let's roll the tape.
Let's do it. All right. It's our pleasure to welcome Clayton Bellamy to the Beer, Rum, and Rock and Roll podcast.
Thank you so much for having
brother.
me. Cheers.
Cheers,
All
man.
right.
Awesome. This is exciting.
So you're based in Nashville, yes?
I kind of split my time between Nashville and Canada now. I have family and kids out here in Canada, and do a lot of working back and forth. My label and publishing is out there, and so I'm on a plane a lot.
So what brings you back to Calgary?
Writing and recording. Actually, I do.
Right on.
A large bulk of it. My band is based here in Calgary. A lot of the players in the band.
Yep.
And we've just been kind of doing pre-production for a new Congregation record.
Already?
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Who's in the band from here?
Corbett Fraz, who's Roadhammers alumni, also plays in Black Mountain Whiskey Rebellion, and Reed Shimizawa, who famous
friend of the show,
friend of the show, Zucker Baby,
yes,
he's amazing guitar player.
He is.
Greg Carroll, also who's who plays with Black Mountain Whiskey Rebellion. He's played with Amos Garrett.
Of course. Amos,
great guys, and then the horn section also, Kim Beecham and Gareth Hughes, both from Calgary here. So it's a great bunch of players that I've managed to get to share the stage with. My
question is, with that many guys, like, how does the studio musician situation compare to the live one?
It's kind of a rotating cast for the most part. The first record was done without a band. So it was myself and my producer, Scott Baggett, and we pretty much played everything on the record.
Wow.
We'd track the drums with a drum machine, and then we'd go in and we would go into the studio with a drummer, and he would play it. We'd just bring him the track. He would play live drums to it. We'd go back and mix everything kind of and do it like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Chad Cromwell.
Okay.
Yeah, so plays, Neil Young was his big claim to fame, plays with Neil. And he's a real heavy hitter.
You're in good hands.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Do you like the heavy hitter drum, or do you like the kind of field drummer? Because I'm a big fan of the heavy hitter, but
I'm with you on that. It's got it. Like, I want you to beat those things like they owe you money.
That's what they're for, right?
Yeah. I like meat and potatoes. Like, give me Phil Rudd all night. I don't want fills. I just want great groove, but hit them hard. Yeah, so you can feel it.
In rehearsals, I want to know that my ears took a bit of a beating. You know, it wasn't just this nice sonic experience. You feel it, right? The floor vibrates.
And you mentioned Phil Rudd. That is harder to do than people realize.
It really is.
Four on the floor, steady beat. It's tough, man.
Playing that kind of music, it's I'm involved in a Tom Petty tribute, also called The Legendary Life of Tom Petty, and it's the same kind of music. It's simply complicated is the way to put it, because it's so simplified, the parts, that a lot of guys can't play it because they want to play more. They want to overplay it, where it's just you got to keep it simple, and all the parts fit together perfectly when you play just what you're supposed to play.
Right. Yeah. And I'm a big Stan Lynch fan, so yeah, he was great.
Yeah, amazing.
The Heartbreakers, for sure.
Yeah, and his whole sensibility, just staying on Tom Petty for 2 seconds. Was that his songwriting was always the less is more approach, and everybody in the band felt that way too, it seemed.
It's been inspiring songwriting-wise too, because you know all these songs, but then you start digging in and really learning them. And I mean, like, note for note learning them, and it's like, man, it it makes you better, and you just kind of, you can't help but just absorb that stuff.
But you feel the song at that point, right? Like, you hear the songs and they're earworms. Obviously, Tom Petty's got ridiculous amounts of hits.
Yeah, unreal.
As you could say. But when you learn to play the tune, you're kind of just a bit more intimate with the song now. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's cool you're doing that.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I want to hear it now.
Yeah,
See,
well, we're not very good.
Did I mention that?
Yeah, we suck. But...
So you're fronting that?
Yes.
Oh, right on.
Cool.
That's cool.
It's really interesting. It's not like what they call a tribute. It's what they call it, a musical salute. So I'm not pretending to be Tom Petty.
Right.
I'm an They pitch it kind of like I'm an artist who's influenced by Tom Petty, and I'm doing my version of my rendition of these Tom Petty songs.
That's
cooler. It's way cooler than dressing up as an artist and trying to pretend like you're them. I'm not Tom, nor could I ever be. But I was heavily influenced by him as a songwriter and musician. So I just kind of, we take an interpretation, we do the best, closest that we can to remaining true to the songs, but we're still going to play them like we would play a live show. We're not.
You're still pretty true to the song.
Yeah,
jangly.
We still keep it close to Tom's, but some arrangements are different, and we're intertwining songs and making it into a show still. Yeah, so it's like a concert. It's not just play a song and then stop and play.
And are you touring this?
Yeah, we've actually got a bunch of shows in April. We're doing a string of shows. So that
right on
here. No.
Those will all be announced, but they're so far Grand Prairie, Edmonton, Red Deer, and they're working on Calgary. So
cool, wicked.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, you mentioned Tom being an influence. Let's back up the clock.
That's early influence.
This is your life, Clayton. So I'm curious when music first made an impact in you in your life as a kid. You grew up in Bonnyville?
Bonnyville, yeah. And still have a place there.
No way.
Yeah.
Do you?
Right on.
You bet. Yeah.
See, I worked in St. Paul.
Oh, no
for
way.
a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. People in St. Paul hate people from Bonnyville. Are we going to get a fight here? Because I'm not prepared.
You guys going to throw down?
I wasn't even in St. Paul.
Okay.
I was in Elk Point, which is even rougher.
We're cool, though. We're cool.
Wow. Yeah, interesting. I've been part of that world, but I've been up there anyways. But yeah. So what was, how did it happen?
When did you get bit by the music bug, man?
I started, when I was in grade 1, I had a teacher who kind of pulled my parents aside and said, like, I really have a knack for music and that they should kind of steer me to that because I have an ear for it. So
you had a good teacher.
I did.
That cared about
Mrs.
you.
Noble.
Nice.
Yeah. Thank you, Mrs. Noble.
Right on. Yeah.
Too bad she couldn't fix my bad attitude, but
one day at a time.
Yeah, exactly. So I got involved in music, singing in church choir and singing in school choirs, and I never really picked up guitar till my later in my life. But
how much later? I'm just curious.
Till I was about 17, 18.
Yeah, okay.
When I was in college, I started kind of trying to play guitar. I went to school for music at Red Deer College, and our second year, we went to the NAMM show as part of our music business.
Just coming right up here.
Right now.
Yeah, right away. And I sat in the front row. I had no idea what was happening and how much it would change my life, but I sat at the front row for one of these NAMM concerts, and out came a 12-year-old Derek Trucks trio. Blew my mind. After that, they left the stage. Out comes Government Mule.
Oh, my God.
And then they left the stage.
See the goosebumps here?
Yeah. And then after that, out comes the Allman Brothers.
Are you fucking shitting me?
Dickie Betts, Warren Haynes. It was...
Look at that.
Yeah, dude, I was 19 years old, and I was so blown away. I didn't know. I was speechless that whole time. And we left this. We went back home, and I literally sold everything that I could sell, maybe even my body, and bought like an old solid state Carvin amp and a telly, Mexican telly, and started trying to be Warren Haynes. And
what a great story!
I've still been trying ever since.
What a great show!
I'll never get there, but man.
To see Trucks at 12 is one thing.
Wow.
It's already one thing, cool. Right? Like, that's enough to tell that story a few times. That's unbelievable, dude.
Right? I saw him, I was front row for the Ryman show a couple of years ago, and it brought tears to my eyes. Yeah. It was like
What's
going
his
to
wife?
church. Susan Tedeschi.
Yeah.
I've never seen them together. But
me neither.
Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, it was probably the best thing I've ever seen musically. He's just so inspiring, and that was for sure a couple of moments for me when that happened at the NAMM show. That kind of turned me, really into focusing on what I wanted to do, and that was a large part of it. That kind of vibe. Where I ended up now, with the Roadhammers, there's a strong flavor of that music in a thread through that. And now with the Congregation, it's even more of that with some, the R&B and blues influence, that kind of Joe Cocker, Mad Dogs and Englishmen.
Black Crows.
Black Crows, Lenny Kravitz.
Little Ray Charles in there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But throw horns in there a little bit. And,
yeah. So the horns, we've had a number of shows with two drummers, which I really love.
Allman Brothers.
Yeah, exactly. Allman Brothers again. So the whole concept of the band was rock and roll church. Like it's a rock and roll tent revival. So there's always a rotating cast of musicians, special guests, and it's very inclusive with the audience, and it brings them into this kind of festive, celebratory mood. The music.
It does. I saw it, and it was fucking wicked. Tell me about the transition. So the Roadhammers is not this.
No.
So, right? I mean, I know this. So I'm wondering what caused that shift of you to go out on your own and do this Congregation vibe?
Well, I hate everybody in my band.
Of course you do.
We've been in a band for 15 years.
It's called creative differences, Clayton. Come on.
No, I love those guys. We get along great.
And it's still an ongoing entity.
Yeah, we're actually working on a new record right now, so it's exciting. It was just something that I needed to do. You know what the catalyst was I was going through a divorce, and that's always, it was a shedding of my skin, not only for me personally. I was letting go of something and having to start again. I was looking at my life in general and just going, I don't like where I'm at creatively. I'm sick of writing songs like the way I was writing them. I'm sick of making music the way I'm making it, and it's not connecting with people because it's not connecting with me anymore. So how do I expect people to connect to what I'm doing if I don't believe it?
Absolutely.
So I just went, crumple it up and threw out the diagram and started again. And I was hanging out in Nashville with my producer, Scott Baggett, and we were just talking about that and just went right back to square one. What it really, like you just asked me, what really turned me on about music and who do I love? And I started listing these bands, and he actually had a Mad Dogs and Englishmen album out that he had been listening to before that day. And we're standing in the room and we put it on and we're like, yeah, this is it. And he always calls me the preacher man when I'm on stage with the hammers, kind of doing my thing out front, waving my hands around. And we just kind of took that idea and said, well, if I'm the preacher man, then this band has to be the Congregation. And
there
boom, there it was born. And
man, that gave me goosebumps.
And it took a couple of years to get to that spot because I had the idea and I knew I wanted to do something different, but I had no idea how to do it. I'd been writing songs for 15 years, like in the Nashville kind of sense of songwriting where we're sitting in a room, strangers, and we're just coming up with songs with acoustic guitars and trying to write something that rhymes, where this was all conceived like with grooves and riffs and then sitting back and going, okay, what do I want to say? How does this make me feel? And it was hard. It sucked. I wrote lots of shit for probably a year where I couldn't get anything that really was hitting home. And then all of a sudden I got one. And then I found a few people that I could write with that would get it. And then we hit and away we went.
Do you find it's nice to have a scope like that? Like, if you're trying to recreate yourself, obviously a little bit there, and you wanted to do something that was inspiring and also different. And to have a scope kind of, or at least a template or an idea of parameters as to how you were going to do it. Did you find that easier or harder?
At first, I was worried that I couldn't do this, that I didn't have it in me to make those songs, and come up with it. But no, I thought it was good to have that parameter because
that's what I'm feeling.
To work inside of that box, it's kind of like the Roadhammers. We know when we write a song or we hear a song, if it's a Hammer song or not. And it's the same with this. I can sit down and we can start writing and I can stop kind of go, hey, no, we need to change this. And now that I've been doing it for a couple of years now, just recently I was writing with a good friend of mine, Dan Davidson, and we Steve Mariner from Monkey Junk.
Okay.
I plays harmonica with Colin James. He's super talented.
We just saw him.
We just saw him.
He's a badass.
Awesome.
Certifiable. And we were writing this song called Fear Versus Love, and we finished it. And a couple of days later, I went back to it and went, it's great, but it doesn't fit that template of the congregation. So we went in, changed the groove, changed a few things, and boom, we got a song, out of it. So yeah, I do feel like the constrictions of having that template are helpful to go like, this is the target, this is exactly where we're going. So when I write with co-writers, I can tell them, listen to Joe Cocker, listen to the Black Crowes,
right?
Turn on, if you want something more contemporary, I can turn them on to the bands that influence me so that they can come in with the same mindset,
Right.
Yeah. You mentioned harp. You play harp too.
Yeah. Not nearly as good as Steve Barron.
No, I know.
Trying to get a lesson from him. Steve, cough it up, buddy. What's the secret?
Oh, the cat that plays for Willie Nelson, he is insane too. I don't know what his name is, but he's been with Willie forever. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I know exactly who you're talking about.
I should know his name, but anyway.
Nobody plays like him either.
Oh my God, is he good. Anyway, sidebar.
When did that happen, harp, for you? Like, was that before guitar? Were you just messing?
It was actually. Harp was before guitar. I started it in college.
Cool.
It was kind of, I guess, around the same time. I was just sucking at guitar. I thought might as well suck at harp too. So now I suck and blow at harp.
But boom.
I'll go to the drums real quick.
Yeah, come on.
Give me a rim shot.
Yeah. So that was the. I started playing it because it's easy to just stick in your pocket.
Right.
And be driving from gig to gig.
Yeah.
And just playing when I'd be driving in my van.
And you get better really quick when it's in your pocket, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to go open something up or whatever. It's right there.
It's right there.
Yeah. So now, and that was it. And I kind of wanted to incorporate that into the, obviously the congregation. It brings out that kind of blues kind of flavor that I love.
Into church.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
For me, I didn't know, I knew your name. Like my connection to you is through Reed.
Right.
Because we've been friends for a long time. And I see, he's playing with Clayton Bellamy in the congregation. Who's that? Clayton Bellamy, the name rung a bit of a bell, but I didn't know where the Roadhammers were.
Right.
I was kind of coming in with the blank slate, right? So I'm like, I'm going to go to this Weber Academy gig to support my friend Reed.
Right.
So Andrea and my wife, we go in, and I sampled a bit of the album, but for a change, I didn't want to know too much. Because usually when you go to a show, you know what you're going to see and hear for the most part, right? Well, I didn't. Well, holy fuck. You come out with the hat and the suit and doing the thing. I was just blown away, man. Like, it was awesome. I smiled for the next 90 minutes or 2 hours.
That's great to hear. Thank you.
It was really good.
I really adopted a bit of a Alice Cooper sensibility to the character that I'm playing in the congregation. Like when I hit the stage, I'm not Clayton Bellamy, I'm the preacher man.
Yes.
When I put the suit on,
you can
the
feel
hat that. and all of, I feel like it's kind of like the rock and roll voodoo preacher man.
Yep.
And that's the vibe I'm there to kind of put out, which is funny because, in that usually the statement at the beginning of the night is Clayton Bellamy couldn't make it here tonight, so preacher man gonna fill his place.
Yeah, right.
And that's usually how we continue. And I've had a lot of people mention that because it's like, well, that's not the Clayton we know. Like who is that or who are you?
Right.
And it's easy when I put on that suit because it's like, and I can relate to Alice and how he says that he feels like he's somebody else when he puts that on. And it's like, it's exactly that kind of mentality. And that again, just like the music and everything else didn't happen overnight. It really took a couple of bad shows where I was still being Clayton and trying to play that music. And it really didn't happen until I found the first suit. And
that's funny.
It's really weird, but it was
like
a
an
psychological thing. I bought that suit and I put it on and I was somebody else.
Well,
and
look
I
badass.
Just pulled off all the stops and away it went. And now it's kind of become a thing with the band.
Well, it worked because I didn't know Clayton Bellamy, like I said, really. So I had no reference point. So you come out and I'm like, this is fucking wicked.
Oh,
this is awesome. And the covers, the Joe Cocker, the Lenny Kravitz, you did Baby Please Don't Go, all awesome.
Oh, thank you.
It really added a lot. I can't think of another band that does that. Like I listen to a fucking lot of music and I can't think of anybody that sounds like that. Like that mixture of music, it's just incredible. Like,
I'm a sucker for the horns and the backup singers, man. So that's I love more people on the stage.
Yeah.
You know, I like bass players.
Like you're filling a void. There's a void being filled.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, that's great.
And the heavy riff in there too, though, because I'm a rock guy at heart. And that's in there as well. It's just got everything.
And
that
just
I
trying
like.
to thank you. And that's the same with me. I feel like a kid in a candy store. I've had a lot of people mention that they feel like I've found my voice, like found my music. And that to me is the best compliment anyone could ever give me, say that they think that I've found my music. Because that's how I feel when I'm up there. I feel like I'm in heaven. Like this is it. To be honest, I didn't want to have my name attached to the band in the first place. That was my shitty record label's idea.
Just the congregation?
Yeah,
that was
I just wanted
just so you know, he's got a shitty record label.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Anthem. Thank you. Yeah.
Anthem? That's Rush. No.
Yeah. That was their idea, that it had to have my name attached to it. Because I wanted that separation completely. And the next record won't have my name on it because I just want it to be the congregation.
So you're definitely peeling the skin back another layer.
Exactly.
That's cool.
Exactly.
That's cool.
Because it is separate from, if I'm going to do a Clayton Bellamy record, it's probably going to be more roots and stripped down kind of Americana. Right. And I want to be able to have the three pieces, it's the Roadhammers and Clayton Bellamy and the congregation. And they don't ride together in the same van. They're all.
But isn't that a blessing, man, to be able to do it that way?
Absolutely.
Too, where it's like, you hear of bands and singers and whatever going, I got to play this song to the day I'm dead. And it's the same shtick, just a different day.
Right.
Where here it's, I'm a different guy today. And I'm playing different music today. And I'm probably playing different instruments today or whatever it is. And I'm around different musicians.
Keeps it interesting, I'm sure.
Totally keeps you focused on the task at hand, which is cool.
Keeps you inspired, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's the word.
Yeah. I've been really blessed to be able to write with a lot of different people too, and that, with different bands and artists. And that's another whole other thing that keeps me inspired. You get to sit down with different bands and write songs for their records and stuff. And that's really kind of come into play in the last few years with me being able to do that. And it's like all of these things moving at the same time. I'm blessed that I never get bored. There's always something.
Well, Nashville is made for that, right?
That's so they're built on it.
Yeah, exactly.
It feels great. And I don't take it for granted one day. Every day I get up and being able to do this as a living is a real, I'm very grateful to be able to do it.
When did you pen your first song?
I think I was on the back of my dad's tractor.
Okay.
This is good. This is going back. I mean,
this is specific.
I'm going to add some tractor sound design to this so we can.
I literally, farming with my dad.
Was it a John Deere, Clayton?
No, it wasn't. It was a case, and he still has it.
Ah.
Yeah, it was an old case. Yeah, it's funny because he still has that thing. He used to I couldn't push the clutch in. It wasn't strong enough.
Right.
So he would put it in gear and then let it go. And I just had to keep it straight on the road.
Right.
Sure.
Making hay.
Right.
But it's funny. But that's where I started coming up with song ideas. Was as young
lyrically.
Lyrically. It was young as like 12 years old. And then we grew up in the era of, landlines and newspapers, not and records, not
in small towns. There was
internet.
4 numbers to press to get the it was like, what's your number? 6439.
And the
what?
and the party line.
With the party line, you have to ride. I had to ride my, for sure, dating myself, but I remember having to ride my bicycle down the road a mile to the neighbors because their kids would always leave the phone off the hook. I couldn't make a phone call.
Right.
I'd have to get them, hang up the fucking phone and ride my bike back a mile to get on the phone to phone home.
These are the problems we had.
Yeah, exactly. So
anyway, you're on the tractor.
Well, to me, I was saying that the idea that I could be in a band and do what those albums that I was listening to as a kid, my parents' albums, and the idea was foreign to me. That I couldn't put those two things together until I was a lot older, until I was like 18, 19 years old. And I was like, okay, I could make a record too. I could do this. Whereas before growing up, it's like, well, it's such a leap. That's for someone else.
That's a pie in the sky.
Yeah.
So was there an actual specific moment where you had that realization where, hey, I could fucking do this for a living? Like, was there a moment on
once
stage?
Once you learn 3 chords, right?
Yeah. Well, I think once I really
3 chords in the truth.
Yeah. 3 chords in the truth.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
Once I started going to college and being surrounded in that environment, I think, of playing music. I started a band, and we were in my second year of
in
college.
Red Deer?
Yeah, in Red Deer.
Okay.
Called the Moonshine Bandits.
Right
Yeah,
on.
we were terrible, but we were working.
Right.
And in the mid '90s, playing country music in a cover band, we played. For 7 years, I played 6 nights a week.
Wow.
All from one end, all over Canada and North America. I was just playing.
Cutting your teeth, man.
And that's what I did, yeah. And
Right.
And I once I got out of college, that's what I did until basically 2004. I stopped that altogether. I put out 2 solo records that went nowhere.
Right.
I moved to Nashville for a year to basically dry out and just write songs. I knew one guy in town, and that was Ray Kennedy, who's Steve Earle's producer.
Oh, wow.
And he's, multi-Grammy award winner and become a dear friend of mine. His wife got me a job working in a place called Bobby's Dairy Dip. It was an ice cream and burger parlor.
Cool.
And I put on the paper hat and
I love the name already.
Yeah.
Bobby's Dairy Dip.
That's awesome.
It was so cool because
I'm getting the shirt. If they are online, I'm buying one.
that's
they're
in
not
Nashville?
around anymore.
Oh,
but
too bad.
But for the longest time, they were like the hip place to go
Right.
on the weekends. That's where all the musicians would go and
Right.
hang out and order food. So I started to meet all these people, and also I basically lived at Ray's studio, and some
Right.
of the greatest songwriters and musicians traveled through that studio.
Who's coming in and out of there?
I sat in on the Steve Earle sessions for Revolution Starts Now.
Okay.
And I was so scared because he's one of my heroes.
He's pretty awesome.
He
now.
can't write a song. Though.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They're in the studio just having coffee and getting ready for the day. And I just sat there and literally didn't say a word because I thought somebody's going to just look at me and go, who the fuck is this guy?
Get this
Yeah,
guy.
right.
Get him out of here.
Exactly.
So
Are you going to get coffee, boy?
Yeah, exactly. I would have done anything just to stay in there and be a fly
Right.
on the wall. It was awesome. But the people that were coming in and out of there, it was pretty amazing.
I
moved
bet.
back to Canada after a year. My time run out.
Right.
Being across the border.
Right.
And that's when I met Jason and Chris, and they were starting a thing called the Roadhammers, this trucker rock band.
Right.
So
Yeah.
and the rest is history,
But-
it's crazy to think that the band's been going for 15 years. We just
Right.
put out a greatest hits album, which is mind blowing because it feels
Right.
like just yesterday that happened.
Well, like I said, I didn't know much about that band. Biggest selling Canadian country band ever.
Yeah.
I'm like, how do I not know who these fucking guys are? I was a bit embarrassed, to be honest.
It's
That's
pretty
incredible,
wild.
man.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Good for you. That's wicked.
From the time that I got, joined the band, we made the record and released it. Within that 6 months, it just completely exploded. It debuted at number
You're
one.
like, what?
And we started a tour and went from Vancouver. And when the time we got to Halifax, the record had gone gold, and it just kept going from there. It went on to be
Awesome.
platinum. The first album went platinum, and the train never stopped. We
Platinum,
signed,
that's big numbers, man.
yeah, we signed a deal in the U.S. and moved down there and just kept the train rolling, and it's been a great run.
Did you get much traction in the States? Like, how did that work out for you?
It didn't.
It's tough, man.
It's a tough run.
But the Tragically Hip couldn't get any traction there.
It's really tough,
Yeah.
Especially I always looked at. They're very welcoming to everybody, but
Right.
essentially you're playing American. At the root of it, it's American folk music,
Right.
and you're Canadian playing American folk music. And we ran
Interesting.
into that
Right.
Yeah.
on more than one occasion where it's like, why should we support you guys when we can support this guy from our country
Right.
who's
I
singing American
suppose,
folk
yeah.
music, country music? So, it's not like that everywhere.
Right.
There are examples of that being wrong. I can't paint everything with one brush, right?
Sure.
But we definitely ran into that. And for the most part, our biggest problem was that we had a terrible record label. They're everywhere, apparently.
Man, that's a pretty
I only signed to them, apparently, the bad ones.
Right.
But
That's a pretty common story, man.
we
Yeah.
signed to a label called Montage Music, and we should have known better. The guy who was running the label had just been finished being sued by the Dixie Chicks. So,
Oh, fuck.
and he started his new label. Maybe we shouldn't have signed with that guy, but the label went bankrupt, so we got caught up in a bunch of
fuck.
garbage that really held us up for a long time. Unfortunately, those kinds of companies and people that are everywhere too.
That's
in the music business.
Especially in the fucking music business,
exactly. That or film, you know it, man.
Yeah,
it's not going to be good.
But we've managed to sidestep a lot of that stuff for the most part. And when all that happened, it put the band on hiatus for almost 5 years. And we all kind of thought that it was done. And Jay kind of rolled back in with a new fire and wanted to put the band back together. And we came out with the Wheels record in 2015, which had Mud on it, which turned out to be a gold single for us and just kind of put everything back on track again.
All over your clothes, on your pretty little nose, all between your toes.
Like in that gap, is that where you did the solo stuff?
Yeah, I did two solo albums.
Right.
Yeah. And then we came back, and Jay had also done a solo album. Then we kind of came back with it.
So you're doing shit. You're moving. Yeah.
But it was a renewed fire,
right?
I think for everyone to take a break, and then to kind of come back and go, hey, you know what? This is really good. You get working so much, and we worked so hard when we were in the U.S., just touring, that you lose sight of, that you actually have something, that there's a magic there you need to preserve, and us stepping away from it and then coming back going, hey, you know what? This is
for sure, man. Yeah.
Better than the sum of our parts kind of thing,
And it's tough these days, man. It's brutal out there for musicians, is it not? Like you're an established cat, but if you're somebody coming up, like with free music and Spotify not paying any money, it's tough, man.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Like what's your take on that? Like the whole streaming thing and all that?
Oh, I think it was just a matter of time. It's like anything else. It's the music business is always going to figure its way how to monetize things. And I was already kind of feel like it's legislation's starting to come in and things are starting to even out where it's like, hey guys, slowly, this is intellectual property. Yes. We all got to pay for it. Right. You can't get something for nothing.
Yeah.
But I think it's just the way of the world. We saw it with records to tapes and tapes to CD and CD.
That's true.
On and on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you look at it with it put more of the ownership and the responsibility on the people creating the music.
Yes.
Which you can look at one way or the other, but I look at it more positively going, okay, yeah, this happened, and the record labels are, I was working at Country 105 when you were probably in Red Deer.
Yeah.
As a producer there. And we had record labels in every Tuesday morning to shop the new music. Right. All the labels.
Is that right?
Sony was there, MCA.
At the same time or just one after the other?
One after the other. Tuesday was...
That would have been uncomfortable.
Tuesday was New Music Day, right? And it's like...
Are they still putting Coke in the albums?
Oh, baby, it was all over the place. No. But,
we brought you our new record with this TV attached to it.
Right.
Exactly.
Payola.
It was... but there was a rep for every label.
Yes.
And there was a bunch of them. Right?
Right.
And within a number of years, there was like one guy working 5 labels and it just became minimized. They lost their place. Artists lost their place. Right. But what happened, in my opinion, was, and you can elaborate, but I found that it put the responsibility back on the artist and they started having much more control over what they were doing and promoting themselves and taking ownership of it.
Yeah.
And now kind of reap the rewards without relying on somebody that may or may not do something for you at the end of the day,
True.
Which is what you're finding out when your label and the issues, you're putting it in somebody else's hands.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And you're not going to do your music that way. So why should you do your job
creatively?
That way?
It's more freeing is what you're saying.
Not only creative, but business wise. I mean, why would you put it? I think it's allowed for that opportunity to happen. Which before was unheard of,
Yeah.
And plus the way you record now and stuff like that.
Yeah,
It's not
kids are doing it in their basement.
Right. So everything evolves.
Okay, I want to get back to the Congregation.
Yeah.
Now that it's all done and you did that first album, when you reflect on it, is it what you wanted it to be? Like, are you happy with how it turned out? Because I know, like with me, I'm a sucker for that full tilt rock shit. So like Super Love. This is in my wheelhouse.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Are we going to list tracks? Because I got a few.
Two come to mind. That one I fucking love.
Yeah.
But the one that really hit me was The Healer.
I loved it.
Oh, The Healing.
God.
Yeah.
Oh, so I'm sorry. The Healing. Sorry. Not The Healer, The Healing. Man, just awesome.
That
just awesome.
That song just gives me goosebumps just talking about that song. And to answer your first question, yes,
sorry.
I've never had an album where usually when I'm finished them, I hate them. You see stuff that nobody else does, and you're like, I wish we could have done this, or I should have done that. But with this, I feel like I accomplished exactly what I wanted.
Right on.
Will I move forward from there? Yes, absolutely. But this is exactly what I wanted it to be.
Right on.
The Healing I wrote with Scott Baggett, my producer, and Jeffrey Steele, who's got more number one songs in Nashville than he's got no room on his walls anymore for number one plaques.
Wow.
But he's just a brilliant artist, and he co-wrote Mud with the Roadhammers and has been a long time collaborator, friend of the band. So we went in and we just, before the session, making coffee and talking about, telling stories and stuff. And he had some tragedy in his life, and I was talking about, my situation with my relationship and all of that stuff. Right. And we just kind of come to a point where we're saying, everybody always needs just a little bit of healing. And we just kind of both stopped.
Hello.
And went directly upstairs.
Write that down.
Yeah. And our
gold, Jerry.
Exactly.
It's gold, Jerry.
That's exactly what it was.
So awesome.
Yeah.
Just inspiration struck right then.
Yeah, and Scott had already come up with kind of this slow jam R&B thing. So when we landed on that, it was like it was magic.
This is your healing. This is your healing.
And again, into the scope of your church congregation thing.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's the altar call of the evening. Right. It's the rock and roll altar call. That's how we always kind of paint it, which is really cool. Where, and it's even sung in that kind of what I would say that almost Southern Baptist thing where he's almost talking the lyrics. When I'm saying he, like it's not me, but that's how the lyrics get spit out. It's not sung. The verses are spoken. It's almost a spoken kind of blues talking kind of thing.
Yeah.
The way the verses roll out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's your homily.
Yeah.
Ooh, homily. Nice.
Look it up.
I'll pretend like I know what that means.
That's a church reference. I was an altar boy as a small young man. See,
but that is definitely one of my favorite songs on the album.
Yeah, it's great. I want to go back again. So it's you, your producer. You guys you wrote the whole album, the two of you, and then you get a drummer in. Like, how does that all work? Okay, we need people to play this shit live. How does that all work? Like, you just have friends and you call people, and pretty soon you have a band together. Like, how does that work, man?
I guess so. For the most part, as far as making the record, Scott and I we didn't write all the songs together. We co-wrote a lot of them, but there was different collaborators that came in. Jimmy Thau was one from a band called Sons of Daughters that we wrote a lot with, and different characters come in and out. Jeffrey Steele, obviously.
Right.
Simon Climby, who we talked about earlier.
Yep.
We wrote a song together on there called One Thing Right.
Right.
I like that lyric.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I really do. That was a catchy little turn of phrase there. Loved it.
That was a scary one because I had only had 2 days to write with him, and both sessions were only a few hours. Like he's a busy guy.
How do you do that?
Right. I got 2 days to give you. Let's go.
Let's write some stuff. Oh man,
there was a lot of pressure because the label had flown me out to Nice, to France. So I'm in, on the coast in France. It's amazing and beautiful. And we drive up this mountainside to Simon's house that's overlooking the port, in Nice. And we're the first day, we're both jet lagged because he had just flown in from London, and we got absolutely nothing. We started a song, it was a total turd, and he just called it and went, let's get some sleep. I'll see you tomorrow.
Right.
He comes, picks me up, back up to the mansion. We roll in, and we're working on another song, and we're both seeing it just go like this, and time's a wasting, because we don't spend any day and night here. We're spending like 3-4 hours max, and we're done. Wow. So he's like, we're breaking for tea. He goes and makes tea, and I pick up this guitar which he yells from the kitchen. I start playing on it. He said, "Oh, that's Eric's favorite guitar." And I'm like, "That's Eric."
Oh, come
How many Erics do you know?
on.
It's like, it's this
I think
1960s.
he'd have a couple of favorites, like
Yeah.
Blackie
I know,
maybe or something, right?
Right? There's a 60s 335, less, Gibson's 335, and I'm playing it. And
Like
I'm just,
that
It's not the cream one, is it?
It's like that. No, but it was kind of like that.
Yeah.
That kind of burst. And
Wow.
I'm playing this riff, the intro riff, and I just was playing that round and around, and he heard it from the kitchen and immediately stopped making tea, came in
Wow.
and started playing piano. He's a piano player.
Right.
He came in and started playing over top of it and adding changes to that riff.
Right.
And then I just went, "I've seen your best, you've
Oh, I
seen
see.
my
So,
worst."
okay, gotcha.
And then boom, we just started
Right.
writing. Within an hour, we had
Holy
the
shit,
bulk
that's
of the
cool.
song. It just kind of spilled out. It was just what I call a sky song.
Wow.
And the next thing you know, we had one thing right.
I've seen your best, you've seen my worst. Days I don't know what comes first, and life ain't always black and white. But loving you, I did one thing right. You've seen me stumble, seen me fall, so drunk I could hardly crawl. I always made it home that night, 'cause loving you, I did one thing right.
So you're all over the globe making this thing. Like, what happened there? Like, you just go where people are, kind of thing? Or?
Well,
Like,
I figured Anthem was going to give me money to travel, so I might as well use it.
Right on.
Don't leave it sitting in the bank.
Right.
So I'm going to spend
Right.
the money if they're going to.
Why not?
It was all part of the idea of getting out of my comfort zone. That was the whole
Right.
idea so I didn't want to write with the same people that I've always written with and be in that same atmosphere, getting out and going to Nice and going writing in Copenhagen and in London and all these places just introduced me to a whole different, ball game of writers that
Right.
have different takes and different ideas and feels.
And different stories, man.
And different
that is
stories,
so
right?
cool.
For sure.
That is so cool.
That's pretty inspiring. But it suits you because, like you said, you got the big band. It's a bunch of people you're pulling from. You got different writers. I mean, that's the way you want to do it, I think.
But yet it sounds cohesive. Like, it sounds like a thing, man. It sounds like a cohesive
Well, that's
thing.
the scope, right?
Yeah.
Like you got.
Yeah, and the guys that I mean, playing with now live anyway, I've known Corbett the
Right.
drummer for 20 years.
Right.
And Reed and I have been in the same circle of friends for
Sure.
the same amount of time.
Yeah.
So all of these people I've known for a great amount of years, and I pulled from a really great pool when I wanted to put the live band together, when I know exactly who's going to be
Right.
in the band. And it's really come together. And how it kind of works is the core of us are always travel and play together. And then we get horn players or the background singers from whatever neck of the woods we're in. We were just played a show in Nashville a couple months ago and had,
Right.
Nashville's horn players and singers. And
There's lots of them there, I'm sure.
there is. Yeah.
Yeah.
We actually used the girls who
So-
sang on the record, which was amazing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
So do
cool.
you send the music ahead, timeline wise? Do you send the music and give them a certain amount of time to learn it, and then they show up? Like, how does that
Yeah,
work?
we just
like
I have all the
how
charts.
quick
and-
do they pick that shit up?
I mean, they're the players are amazing. So
I
it's
bet.
like we had for the Nashville show, we flew in a day early.
Yeah.
They had the charts and they have all the charts and all the music. So,
Right.
We show up the day before, rehearse for a few hours, and then the next day sound check. You run it top to bottom one more time, and then there's showtime.
As a wannabe musician, that just fascinates me that they can do it like that.
But see,
Like,
that's
it's
the
just
thing.
so
When you
cool.
got a craft like that you've spent your
right.
whole life, it's like anything, man. 10,000 hours. you know,
Right.
It's,
But it's so cool that you can do that.
You're riding on the seat of your pants a little bit by having
Right.
new players come in and out and special guests and stuff. It keeps everybody on the edge a little bit, which is
Right.
where I think the magic lives.
Sure,
You
absolutely,
get
man.
too used to these songs, and yes, I know where this is and where this song is.
Yeah.
You end up being up there daydreaming, and you're not really in the thick of it. Whereas if you're not quite sure what's going to happen, or if everybody's kind of rolling on that, are we going to make this cross the
Hey,
finish line? Or
right.
are we gonna fumble the ball here?
Sometimes a train wreck is okay.
Right.
You know, right?
Right.
Or
Or at least
as long as
mistakes.
nobody gets hurt,
Yes,
it's all good.
At least
right?
if it's imminent, sometimes it gets everybody sitting up in their seat a little
Right.
bit more and
Sure.
and playing a little bit
Yeah.
where it's more dangerous. And that's
Yeah.
where I want to live. That
It's so cool to hear you say that, because that's the beauty of live music, and that's
Yeah.
going away a bit with the backing tracks and these guys, everybody faking shit.
And the thing with the preacher man, if he wants to take it and extend it and do something outrageous, which usually happens, as you saw, then if you're not tied to tracks or anything, the band has they have to watch you and they have to follow along, and then you're improvising, and then it's like,
and I love that.
To me was where,
and you see that,
and I think they love it too.
Yes, that's where the magic happens. Exactly,
and they love it too, man. Like they're not wanting to just go tick, 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 tick. I think those nights are special for everybody.
We're not built to be machines, and that's not how good music reacts to you, even on a molecular level. When it's all syncopated and it's all quantized, that's not how music is supposed to be.
I couldn't agree more. It's on a fucking grid and shit.
Yeah, see, that's when the click track came in, I left. Just kidding.
But you know,
right?
It's,
you know.
That when you take that away, then it leaves room to breathe, and that's kind of
that's what good music does, man.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, when you're watching a band and they're looking at each other like, where is this going? I fucking love that. You just don't see it a lot.
Yeah, and I mean, those guys, the band knows, like, they're stellar and they know where we're going. I love having just that little element of, hey, this could go anywhere at any time. So you have to pay attention, and that's great.
Springsteen and these
that's why we're paying you the big bucks.
Like Bruce and those guys. Yeah,
that's what this little pocket is for on your jeans. That's for putting all your musicians' wages in.
Right on pocket with the harmonica. There's got to be room for the harmonica in there, though.
Oh, there is. That's what makes it even more pitiful. I got a harmonica in there and my paycheck.
Back to Nashville, gigging there. Like, I've been there once and I can't wait to go back. Like, I've been to Tootsie's and I haven't been to the Ryman, but so have you played a lot of those stages? Like,
I'm really, spending almost a decade in that town. I've really been able to play a lot of great places.
Mind you, you can't fit the congregation in the Tootsie stage, I don't imagine.
No. I almost had a chance to play the Ryman. We got asked with the Roadhammers to play for a Les Paul tribute.
Oh, cool.
With Steve Miller.
Oh, man.
After Les Paul passed away.
Right.
But my daughter was on her way to being born, and
Priorities,
I couldn't put that aside for a gig, unfortunately. But we were lucky enough to play the Grand Ole Opry a couple times.
Oh, wow. Cool.
I played the Bluebird Cafe a couple of times.
That's a must.
That's a story
and,
too.
and I mean, between that and the Grand Ole Opry, it's like the mother church of country music. Those two venues, and being able to play and make my mark. There's something that I'm really proud of is there's a club in town that's kind of a famous room in Nashville called the Exit Inn, and they've got for years it was kind of like a place to play, and they've got on the back of the wall behind the bar, it's a big high ceiling, and they've got all these wooden embroidered signs of all the people that have played there, and it's like John Lee Hooker, Tom
just
Petty,
their name,
cool, B.B. King.
It's insane. I know.
On and on and on, and then you see Clayton Bellamy on there, and I'm like,
dude,
that is my, it's not a Walk of Fame, and it's not,
this is better,
the Country Music Hall of Fame or whatever. But for me, it's like I went to Nashville I started going there when I was 16 years old, and I wanted to make a mark on that town. And that,
right on.
As small as that is for me, that's my mark. I came to town and I got on that wall, and to me that's all. I'm happy with that.
That is super.
If that's
cool,
all
man.
that, if it only ever stops there, I'd be happy with that.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to get back. Every bar you go into there's a great band on stage. Are these guys signed? Probably not.
Yeah, there's no shortage of musicians or writers in that town.
Oh my God.
You can't help but
insane.
Get better by living there, because you just get better by osmosis, because there's just so much greatness in that town, because everybody's there. It's the best of the best. And if you are truly great and you are at your craft and you're a good human, you're going to quickly rise to the top, kind of the cream of the crop of there.
See, I love that about life when I keep hearing that. It's all about if you're human, right?
Yes, and a good one.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I just wish people more would feel that rather than what they're exposed to on a device or whatever. And we don't have to go down this road, but I'm just saying, I like hearing it.
Well, and on that note, the negativity on Twitter and all this stuff, then you go to his show, this is an uplifting fucking thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's positivity. It's no negativity at all. This is what I loved about it. You forget all that shit that's going on, And it just made me feel good.
Well, you have quite a theme of love on this record.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that was the whole, again, taking from the things I was going through with my relationship, that perspective with, I can't change what's happening to me right now. Mm-hmm. All I can change is my outlook on it. So I kind of, even though I wasn't feeling it, I was just covering everything in love. I was just speaking it out loud and speaking it over my situation. And it ended up manifesting in my life. So I kind of wanted to do the same thing with the music, and that kind of reflected in the songs and stuff of
for sure,
of having that kind of feeling of love and hope and redemption and those kind of themes throughout it. And it lends itself again to that rock and roll church tent revival thing where, nobody wants to come and spend their hard-earned money and go out for an evening and feel bummed out.
Mm-hmm.
When they come to a congregation show, they call it a revival for a reason. You are going to be revived.
Yep.
And if you like, great rock and roll music and you like it loud and you like to party, well, then you're going to get fed.
Yep.
That's what you're going to get.
You must have went over well at the Stampede. I missed that, but you played the Stampede, did you not?
It was unreal. And Gordy Johnson from Big Sugar and his lovely bride both sat in with us that night.
Oh, right on.
And it was a great
That
night.
must have been awesome.
Yeah.
Because the Weber was great, but it wasn't that vibe, right? Like it's a TV show.
Because everyone's sitting down. It's a TV show. It's a lot more clinical.
It is, yeah. I'm sorry I missed that because that would have been great.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I mean, Gordy and I have been collaborating for years.
Right.
He's written and produced stuff for me. I've written songs on Big Sugar and Grady records.
I love
with
Grady
him.
stuff.
So we've been longtime collaborators, and having him kind of come and see it and be a part of it was really special. Yeah. Yeah.
Was this all done digital, or was it
it was all done in the box. Yeah. We pretty much, like you said, the new age of recording, we did it all in Scott's studio that he has built onto his house.
Right.
And we went out to, the only time we went out to an actual big room studio was when we cut drums. Actually, even then we just went to his house, and he had a studio in his house, and we'd bring the tracks. He'd play to the tracks, and then we'd go home and overdub and bring the horns in for a day and bring in, the singers in for a day and just built it like that.
Yeah.
The next record is going to be a mix of that and the live band playing on the record.
Cool.
Because I want to incorporate more of what we're doing live into the recording.
So more people in a room playing together?
Yeah, and I want the guys that I play with live being a part of the writing and a part of the playing and make it so that we can transition from, because like I said, the first record was just my idea and my producer working and building it. So now I want it to kind of evolve into a band that is writing and recording and together.
That's that's cool. That's more of a band feel. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You know what I want to talk about is gear a bit. So what's the first guitar you bought or your parents bought you or whatever?
My parents and my grandparents got together and bought me this white Takamine acoustic guitar. I took that guitar all over the place for years and really, was just a 3-chord strummer for a long time. And then when I saw that concert and bought that Mexican Telly, that was really where I had, that was my first electric guitar.
Right.
And was like, okay, now I wanted, like I said, that was my goal to become a lead guitar player, which didn't really take focus until I joined the Roadhammers, because I kind of faked my way into that band as a lead guitar player because I wasn't.
Right.
And, I would use that term very loosely even now, especially when I'm in the room with guys like, Jason McCoy or Reed Shimizawa, who are brilliant guitar players. But
well, you ripped it on Always on the Run.
Yeah, I could do every once in a while. It'll come together for me.
When you play that song, I'm like, who's taking the solo?
Yeah.
Clayton's got it.
Every once in a while, the stars will align for me. But, I kind of faked my way into that gig and had to really learn, focus on that for a lot of years. I'm just a guitar and gear nerd. I love that. I've kind of, over the years, found my groove with what I like. but I've got I got to have one of everything.
So what are you rocking these days then?
I'm playing I have a vintage Trainer.
Okay.
Head, a 1968 YB50 that I run with a Garnet, kind of like Gordie Johnson.
Winnipeg.
Yeah, that's old.
Yeah,
right
with a
on.
Garnet Herzog preamp on it, and then a Trainer 212 cabinet, and then I alternate guitars between. I have a Yamaha Revstar that I like to play, and I have my Gretsch White Falcon. Player's Edition, which
Billy
is
Duffy.
Yeah, man, one of my favorite guitar players.
Right, and it's all feel, and it's not flashy. He's
That's
not
fucking
super.
That's Falcon.
You know,
but when you hear that riff, like She Sells Sanctuary or dan like that, Gretsch through a Marshall.
Wildflower. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, Wildflower.
Yeah.
So I love that, and and that. The Trainer is very, very kind of a Marshall-esque. It's kind of got a foot.
It's got its own thing
Fender and a foot in the Trainer or in the Marshall world.
So do you have a Yamaha sponsorship? Like I noticed on YouTube, there's a bunch of Yamaha. You're in the Yamaha store. And
yeah,
stuff.
absolutely.
So
We did a bunch of stuff with them live.
Right on.
And they've really helped me out with their guitars are great, and the acoustics are amazing. And I play the Yamaha L series acoustic live, and it's a great workhorse. It sounds killer and it records great. And but I've worked with them for years now.
They make drums too. Like they make a lot of
Yamaha makes everything.
Yeah, killer drums, killer pianos,
motorbikes too. Still,
and
still do. They probably make lawnmowers or so. That's Honda. That's right.
Honda's not making guitars yet.
I guess not yet.
Their electric guitars don't get the props really that they deserve. They sound killer. And the Revstar is great, and being I love the Bigsby's. They got a series.
See, Kiss ruined it for me, man. Because if you wanted the best, you got it. We're sponsored by Gibson and Pearl, because we want the best, right? And I'm like, as a kid, so I got Gibsons everywhere. Like
I got a Gold Top, a 72.
Nice.
That I love, and they're incredible guitars. So I have a number of things, and I use an SG that I play slide on. That's kind of my go. I got it set up just specifically to do that. And that's kind of the three that I usually travel with is my SG and my Gretsch and the Yamaha for the congregation stuff.
Right.
And with the hammers, I don't bring the Gretsch. I use a Firebirds.
Cool. Nothing wrong with that.
A couple different Firebirds, and I like those.
Yeah. That's a cool guitar.
They're odd neck, but once you get used to them, I really find they're great. They're easy to get up high on the neck and play, and I
Johnny
find
Winter,
them
man.
Very comfortable. Yeah, exactly.
Good enough for Johnny. Yeah.
Like slide, I've thought about spending some time with it because I've never been that way as a player. How long of a commitment was it for you, and when did you kind of go down that road? Because it's not easy.
Yeah, and it's still not for me. Like again, when you, I don't put myself in the same room as people like Ariel Posen, for instance, who and guys like that.
Right.
Obviously, we were talking about
Trucks.
Derek Trucks. I mean,
he's a fucking master.
Reinvented the instrument. He makes it sounds like voices. Or Sean from Wide Mouth Mason. You know, another brilliant slide player. So I don't really
saw them last year too.
Any guy that can sing and play at the same time at that caliber is nut bars to me.
Yeah, exactly. It's so inspiring to me, really. You know, to try and get better at the instrument and at the craft. But I started around that same time that I saw. You know, Warren Haynes was when he was the for me the first inspiration of and still is.
He's so incredible
to play guitar and to kind of sound like I've always trying to. That's always the goalpost for me is like, what am I trying to do sonically live? And that's it.
That's a good goalpost.
Yeah. I got to meet him only once. Really? Gordy Johnson got me in at a show in LA.
No way.
He got us some tickets. We were on the road with the Hammers and we got some passes to go backstage. And I got to say, that's probably the only time in my life that I fangirled so hard I had to leave. I excused myself from the party.
He didn't fanboy. He fangirled.
I fangirled out. I thought I was going to start blubbering. Like I almost started blubbering, crying. Wow. Like I was just like so freaked out. I was shaking Warren Haynes' hand.
That is so
and
cool.
we were talking. And he's super cool.
I'm sure he
especially,
is.
You know, a friend of Gordy's is a friend of mine. And have a drink and hang out. And I was like, no, I got to go, man. I got to collect myself. So it was, and now I look back and go, why was I such a dumbass? I should have hung out, you know? But,
I get
you're a peer, man. It's not like you're got the 16 or the Teen Beat magazine.
But at that time, I felt like it.
I would have been.
Yeah, I felt like it at that time. At that moment, I turned into a 13-year-old girl.
Well, if we kept them long enough?
I think so. I mean, it was just great to have you.
Yes, it was.
Pop in and chat with us because I mean we're loving what you're doing.
Thanks, man. My pleasure, guys. It was such a blast.
And new music, man. I'm hungry for it. And man, did that fill a void when I heard that album, man.
And
I can't wait for the next
He's got
one.
a different thing going, and it's nice. It's nice and refreshing. It's refreshing,
exactly.
Because we live in a world where music tends to go in cycles where it's the same shit, different day kind of mentality, and they're not looking for opportunities. The producers and the record companies are all looking for the same, right? Yeah. When you can drive your bus, which you're doing, man,
it's different. Is what I love about it, man.
It's great.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. I mean, because you guys are supporting it, you know, that's what helps guys like us get further down the road. So, you know,
we're trying, man.
Hey, we don't support shit we don't like. We love
appreciate it.
Yeah,
well,
it's really good.
You know, people can find it online at wherever they stream their music or go to the website, congregationmusic.com, and there's all of our show dates and stuff will be up there. We're already booking a bunch of stuff out for the summer.
Right on.
So it's going to be another busy year.
So when do you speculate that second album's coming out? Like any idea?
Well, we want to go.
What's the goal?
We want to be in the studio in the first quarter here.
Okay.
So before spring, we want to be able to hit the studio and get an EP out. You know, you had mentioned Spotify and the changing of the guard. It's put the power back into the musicians as far as releases, and it's almost like the 50s again, where it's all a singles game, baby. You know, it's just
back
like
to the single,
putting out a song at a time, and we can just keep feeding that machine. Now that we've kind of released the album, and this is what the band is and the concept, we can just keep putting out a song every few months.
Okay, man.
All right.
Cheers. Well, let's cheers with the tequila.
Oh,
all right.
Oh my God. We're gonna.
I gave you a little baby sip there.
Iron Maiden tequila glasses.
Iron Maiden today, boys.
Shot
Girls
glasses.
Go wrong.
Hey,
okay.
Run to the hills.
Cheers.
Cheers.
We're out. Peace out.